country.
The member's time has expired. I call the member for Fairfax.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And politics is a funny thing. You know that some days are better than others and some weeks are better than other weeks. And I think everybody in this House across the divide here would all agree that the Leader of the Opposition this week is having an absolute shocker. Absolute shocker. Absolute shocker. At the end of the day, we know that he's not a very liked bloke, and I feel for him in that regard, and nor is he trusted. But of course, as today has been emphasised by others too, reminding us that he did make that roll gold commitment, that guarantee that none of his team in the Labor Party would be engaged with this citizenship saga, and of course 4 have had to resign. 4 cannot sit in this parliament. He's been caught out. Now, you'd think at a time like this, his team would fall in behind him and give him a bit of support because the man is on his knees. And yet the Deputy Leader of the Opposition has actually brought this MPI to the House for debate. She's put on the House's agenda a debate about vocational education and training. And she knows, as the loyal deputy, that her leader failed disastrously as the Minister for Employment. In his last gig as a Minister of a government, there were 110,000 apprentices lost from the system. 110,000 less from the system. And the loyal deputy comes in and says, let's tell Australia about it. Let's again shine a light on the Leader of the Opposition's absolute incompetency. And it's why he should never be Prime Minister. It's probably why the Leader of the Opposition's deputy doesn't want him to be either, because she wants the gig. And I think that's actually why we're here today. I think that's why we're debating this. I mean, why else would the Labor Party put up an MPI, which is all talking really about getting jobs, when we have a record job-making government right now? We have over 1,000 jobs being created every single week, and they want to talk about jobs, Deputy Speaker. I think they're out for the Leader of the Opposition. But if they want to talk about history, let's talk about history. The Labor Party in government introduced 2 schemes that we had to inherit because they were partnership agreements agreed. Now, one of those schemes was the National Partnership Agreement on Skills Reform. So their National Partnership Agreement we replaced recently with Skilling Australia Fund. We also replaced their Vet Fee Help program with Vet Students Loan Scheme. So let's take both of those schemes of the Labor Party. Their National Partnership Agreement effectively disconnected the vocational education and training sector from the real market economy. So a sector that provides the training disconnected from the very industries that accept the graduates. And they did this purposely, not by an accidental rule of the pencil or the pen. 9 times they reduced the incentives for employers. 9 times. $1.2 billion of incentives for employers, encouraging them to take on people out of the vet system, gone from the system. Disconnecting the real economy from the suppliers of vocational education and training. And what was the end result? The end result ended up being young people in Australia, young people being trained, having debt, but no job. No job, but debt. That is the result of their program, as well as the reduction that final year alone of 110,000 apprentices. An absolute disgrace. But then let's talk about Vet Fee Help. That's already been covered a lot in this House over the last 12 months. Incentives provided with a big blank cheque. The Labor Party crafted this framework and it led to dodgy providers right across the country, bringing the very sector they're talking about today into disrepute. And that is why you saw TAFE actually the victims of the Labor Party's actions. That is why TAFE's market share dropped from 60% to 49%, simply because of Labor's actions. Now, in response, are we fixing this? Yes, we are, Deputy Speaker. We are fixing this now with positive action by promoting trades. We are fixing this now with $1.5 billion invested, as we saw in the budget. We are fixing this now with 300,000 new apprentices over the forward estimates. And that's a government that cares, and that's a government taking action.
I thank